Please give a warm welcome to Michal, LeBaron!
Thank you. Well, I did say he could be sassy. I think you really nailed that one. It is so good to be here and to share my story. Thank you so much. Before I get started, I'm sure y'all are wondering, what is the tape on my glasses? I mean, come on, raise of hands. How many of you thought it? Okay, I know. I did not break my glasses. I am actually recovering from a traumatic brain injury I received earlier this year. So, first piece of education, if you ever see tape like this on somebody's glasses, you can say, oh my gosh, what happened? Did you have a brain injury? Because that is what this tape means. So it is a miracle to be here. I am truly grateful on so many levels, and I'm here to share my story with you. So, long story short, I had genetic disorders, food allergies, all sorts of things that stumped medical doctors, specialists, and holistic and alternative practitioners. So I've spent over a decade really seeking answers. How do I heal? So I wove through many different forms of medicine, energy medicine, spiritual stuff, prayer, functional medicine, Chinese medicine, all sorts of medicines. And you know, while I went from bedridden to seemingly normal on the surface, what I had to do to maintain my health was kind of crazy. You know, so I really ate like a rabbit. You know, I could have like a handful of foods, couldn't eat out, had to have purified water, had to breathe purified air, you know, had an herb for this and an herb for that and a supplement for this and a supplement for that. And the list goes on of all the things that I had to do to manage my symptoms. So I became a functional medicine practitioner, and I started my practice, and I was really helping people. They'd go to the Mayo Clinic, and the Mayo Clinic wouldn't help them, and then they'd come to us, and we'd figure it out, and we'd help them. But it was starting to dawn on me about halfway through, about 6 to 7 years into my practice. Is this what healthy looks like, right? So I was known as a health guru. I could solve problems nobody else in the nation could, and sometimes in the world. And so, you know, I did that through various things, like I actually ran proper testing and, you know, I didn't give up. I just kept, you know, assessing the situation and pulling from a myriad of tools to help people. I wasn't stuck to a box. I was really willing to explore with each and every person. I believed they could all be well, like I had gone from bedridden to having a life again. So as this health guru, I started, you know, paying attention to how many supplements I popped a day, you know, and how many times I said, oh, I can't eat that, or oh, maybe I don't want to go to Thanksgiving this year, because I don't want to have the eat special food conversation, if you've ever had that. You know, I was one of those. So was that what healthy looked like? That was a very humbling self-discovery, because my entire practice was not built on teaching people to be healthy. It was teaching people to stay sick. And so when I finally admitted to myself over a couple years of this knocking, you know, I didn't want to look at it. I finally looked at it and I said, if I am not fully healthy, I do not know how to teach anyone else to be healthy. And so if I am not teaching anyone else to be healthy, what am I teaching them? I'm teaching them to manage symptoms. And if you have to manage symptoms through any external tool, modality, remedy, therapy, what have you, then you are not fully healthy. You are a sick person who has symptoms. And I really decided that, you know, basically kicked my practice into the trash can and said, I am willing to explore whatever I don't know that I don't know. What don't I know? And so in that journey, I found a woman who said that she had overcome 5 autoimmune diseases. And I watched her eating real food. That was really the part that got me. She could eat gluten again and dairy and all the things, you know. And so, you know, my first thought when I had met her years prior was, yeah, just wait. That can't be real. And it just went to show me how, you know, in our collective consciousness, how in the paradigm we're taught about how our bodies work and how to heal, right? And we need all these remedies and tools external to us, because our bodies can't heal themselves, even though we're told they can. You know, that's not how our society or culture works. So, you know, after I got over my cynicism and resignation, I watched her over a period of years, and she was healthy and I was not. So humbly, I went to her and I said, okay, what'd you do? You know, you're healthy and I'm not. I'm still using my remedies and tools and things, and I'm still flaring up and having symptoms all the time. I'm ready to hear what you have to say. So she said, well, you know, it was really eye-opening to her when she recognized how she lived life in survival mode. We all know this. Stress mode, victim consciousness, thank you very much. Everyone's in fight or flight. Everyone's surviving. And in fact, we have to do breath work and we have to do all this stuff to feel like we can get out of that. And how long does that last? An hour? A vacation? A day? Maybe 2? So our default mode is sympathetic dominance, fight or flight. And so she said, all I did was get out of fight or flight. I said, well, you're not telling me anything new. All of our patients are in sympathetic dominance. In fact, we have a bunch of tools for that. She laughed at me and said, no, Michal, you have to learn to live in the parasympathetic nervous system. And I never heard it said quite that way because that's not how we're really taught in medicine. We're kind of taught, we fluctuate between the two all the time. She said, no, you have to learn to live there. If you live in the parasympathetic, your body will self-repair 24/7. You'll just detox because your detox systems will be on. Your immune system will regulate. You will no longer have an autoimmune disease. Your digestion will be at full capacity, which means you can just detox and digest and eliminate GMOs and pesticides and stuff that you're exposed to in the environment. That really confronted a lot of my beliefs because my entire functional medicine practice was built on all of that, educating people that all of that was the problem. Our food's been modified, our soil is nutrient deficient. I mean, how many times have you heard, right? Personal care products are toxic, so we have to focus on all of that out here. Well, what about this in here? So I decided, it made sense. Didn't know if I believed it, but it made sense and I was willing to try it, right? I'm going into what I don't know. So this was definitely it. And 12 and a half weeks later, my lab tests were normal. To this day, I have no sign that I've ever had an autoimmune disease. Wow. And this is supposed to be permanent, yes. No sign of my genetic disorder that's shown up in every test since I was a baby. No sign that I ever had that. My food allergies, of which I had anaphylactic reactions, very serious reactions. I can eat all of those foods, and I have never had a problem since that time. And so I really switched gears. I said, holy cow, and maybe some other expletives. I think we're onto something here. And that's really where I basically kept everything I had taught up to that point in the trash. And I decided that this is really my passion, that really I can share with people, you can heal like completely. There's not like your body can heal itself except this, and this. And the beautiful thing about the parasympathetic nervous system is that instead of producing cortisol and stress hormones that also shift our blood flow from our rational frontal lobe into just the reflex centers of the brain, our blood stays in a whole brain state so we can stay mindful and do those practices. When we are in the parasympathetic, we produce regenerative hormones. We begin attracting different things. So very valuable. Thank you for introducing the speech today. In the parasympathetic nervous system, our body is in self-repair mode, cellular regeneration and repair 24/7. And then we can really just get back to a pretty normal lifestyle. So instead of me thinking that my gluten-free diet and my special food and all my supplements and all of the things meant that I was this healthy person, I now love that I am just back to a boring, normal, healthy person. And my body is resilient and metabolically flexible, and it can handle all sorts of stressors in my life because I am at capacity to navigate that from a healthy place. So the entire journey of living in the parasympathetic is a lot of slowing down, learning to be present. It is also learning to put ourselves first, because everyone that I know who has chronic illness has a really big heart and serves a lot of other people, but we tend to get the short end of the stick and put ourselves last. So not from selfishness, what I come first, but truly it's me managing my capacity to be of service. I cannot pour from an empty cup. If my tree is not healthy and watered and nourished, I don't produce the fruits of the Spirit. And so it's really about making sure that I am giving from my overflow. So Rumi had a beautiful quote, kicked me in the butt. And it just sunk in, ever since. And it's never give from the depths of your well. Always give from your overflow. So when I am on cup empty, I may be doing all of the things to be a good person and be of service and serve my family and my community and show up at my job and do all the things. But the inside is not really there, right? We're burnt out, we're stressed, we build up resentments and, a little bit of bitterness in there. We feel like we have the short end of the stick. We don't feel like we have what we need. We are not in a regulated, at full capacity of service place. So it's not the works. It's like works without heart is dead. So it's really making sure that how I live my life is totally from that inner fulfilled place of peace. And that communicates to my body. Another part of this is learning to fill up that cup, learning to keep myself and time to check in with me and all around. How am I doing? What am I feeling? It's not speeding through life and powering through anymore, which is a thing we learn in this culture. It is actually learning to slow down, reconnect, re-engage, and come from that present place. And some magical things happen when we do that. Like all of a sudden we get these intuitions, or more like we actually just listen and pay attention to them. And so the decisions that we begin making actually shift in life from making sped up, stressed out, survival-based decisions to making conscious, present, in tune, spiritual, goal-aligned decisions. And it kind of happens naturally. So it's almost as though we have, little demon, little angel on our shoulders. Well, there really are two different operating states. In a state of fight or flight, life occurs entirely different. So even though the facts of life and the outside world are the same, our experience is entirely different when we view it from survival and fear than when we view it from resilience and love and peace and truth. And we are at a capacity to then seek out mentors that can help us spiritually develop and be on a path of enlightenment when we come out of survival mode. So that's my job. One of the most foundational ways I share what I teach is I teach people to live in the parasympathetic. And the beautiful thing is it does not take years to heal. Like I said, for me, it was 12 and a half weeks. For my clients, I've seen as much as 5 months. And that could be from illnesses and conditions that are permanent, that are life-threatening, and that are supposed to be there forever. We're supposed to manage that forever. Well, the beautiful thing is, the body replaces itself entirely every 7 years. And that's because the bones take the longest. Our digestive system replaces itself every 30 days. Most of our body replaces itself in less than a year. So why do we have ongoing chronic illnesses if we produce billions of brand new cells every single second? It's only if we have survival cells that are producing baby survival cells. If we have fully healthy cells that are in cellular growth and repair mode, which means we can be in growth mode as well, those cells produce baby growth and repair cells. And so then we get an entirely new, healthy, fully functioning body in a very short amount of time. So, healing within, it's an inside job, like all the things that we've heard, it is actually true. I am a living, breathing embodiment of that. And, every day I see hundreds of people getting well and stumping their doctors. Like when you get diagnosed with MS and you have lesions, those aren't ever supposed to go away. And then they go away and the doctor does a double take and a double test and a triple test. So you know what? You guys really can heal. Anyone can heal as long as we can uncover what is going on in those unconscious parts of our brain that are causing ongoing signals without our awareness that you have to survive, that you have to survive, that you have to survive. And it doesn't take years to unwind that. As soon as that becomes conscious, our brain and our nervous system and our body processes all of that and really helps us. So what I love to share pisses off the FDA, that's for sure. Pisses off a lot of health practitioners too. They're afraid their patients will get better. They won't need them anymore. However, I am willing to come up. My loins are girded. And just bust through that system. And the more people know, you can actually heal. And yes, you can heal that too. And yes, you can heal that too. And what about this? Yes, you can heal that too. The more people know, the more that we can change the world. And it is truly my heart's desire that this becomes collective conscious knowledge that is just known in every family, in all the schools, from kindergarten up, that we can heal ourselves and to use our bodies as a mirror to help us see what is going on in our inner world. Our body's not separate from our mind or our spirit. It's all connected. And when we know how to interpret and understand the language of the body, there's no more fear. We just get to stay curious, and we get to uncover all of those conscious internal things that might be going on, where we might not be listening to our intuition, where we might be pushing ourselves too hard, where we might not be feeling our feelings, because we're taught to shove all those down too. And our body becomes one of our greatest teachers. And it's so beautiful to have that skill, because I no longer go to the medicine cabinet and I no longer go to something outside of me to try to help and fix me and heal me. I stay in that place of peace, and I know how my body talks to me, and I'm able to talk back to it, and I'm able to give it what it needs. And it's really transformed my whole life. So last quick story here, as we're winding down. My husband ended up doing this work. I'm so thankful. How family's the hardest, right? So, it was after we had been married for several years, and he was open to it. So we worked with one of our coaches, and he was supposed to be wheelchair bound in his mid-20s. To this day, he's almost 40. He is not in a wheelchair. In fact, he has none of his diseases that landed him joint pain and degenerative issues, and all these chronic pain problems. And it's beautiful because he actually has a painting contracting business, which, if any of you know, that is really hard on your body. Most contractors at his age begin to have degenerative problems just from the nature of their job. And it is so amazing to watch him go do all that, not be in a wheelchair, and be fully healthy too. And so I asked him, because I wasn't privy to his program details, but at the end, I said, "Oh, what can you tell me? I'm so excited to hear how this journey was for you." And he said one thing, it's kind of like a guy to say one thing out of a 5-month journey. And he said, I really got that I can handle anything in my life that comes my way. I have it within me to handle that. And so his illness that he uncovered happened 3 months after a job change. And unconsciously, he made the decision, I am not man enough. And unconsciously, he started this survival program called I'm going to work myself to death to prove it. If you ask anybody that knows him, he is the most manly man in the room most times. However, it's the unconscious programming that rules our lives, and we think life is just happening to us, right? Carl Jung. Until you bring the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life, and you'll call it fate. So that's really the journey. So if the body is saying anything that we do not understand, it just means there's something unconscious. And as soon as that comes conscious, the body says, okay, you've got it. I no longer need to yell at you. Yes.
First of all, thank you so much.
Thank you.
But second of all, will it take care of my wrinkles?
I love it.
I will on the first one.
I absolutely love it. What we would help you do is really embrace the process of aging. However, what is amazing is that when we do, and our cells are producing regenerative cells, we also produce more collagen. So, it might be worth investigating.
She's in.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your listening. Thank you.